Our next speaker is our own executive director of the past 12 years, Jody Pollok-Newsom. Jody will provide us with an update on the Michigan Wheat Program. Jody.
All right, thank you. Can you guys hear me okay? All right, I'm going to give you your update on the checkoff program, where we're at, what's been happening, and also where we are headed in the future. Awesome, thank you. So just real quick, I think you guys pretty much know, every year we kind of give you an update, let you know where we're at. Interesting that 23 and 22, we had the same 83 bushels per acre as a yield. I can move the microphone up if that helps. Looking at 2016, which was our record, and then looking at our total production, 2016 about 51 million bushels, but up quite a bit for 2023 and 46.5 million bushels. So you can see for a while we were pretty much in those 30s and then bumped up last year. So we'll see where we end up come this summer, given all the acreage that we know did not get planted last fall. So want to make sure we understand kind of that we have a significant crop when we look at wheat in our state. And why is that important through the wheat checkoff program? That's important as we look at our topics and our focus, which is definitely research. So when you started, Jeff introduced the current board, previous board members that were here. Those folks, we have funded about 185 research projects totaling just over $5.5 million over the last 12 years. And these are some of the different areas that research has been in. More recently through research, we have really focused on the Great Lakes Yield Enhancement Network. And I'm not going to talk a lot about this. Dennis will talk about this more later in his presentation this afternoon. But really, this is that partnership where we partnered with Canada, Michigan State University, Michigan Wheat Program, the Canadian government, like their extension, the Growers Organization, and the University of Guelph to bring the Great Lakes Yield Enhancement Network to our corner of the world. This is really built off a program started in 2012 in the United Kingdom from a company called ADAS. They have over 400 farmers in their organization in the 12 years that they have been looking at yield enhancement and really looking at the different components. They do a yield contest based on your overall yield, but then they also look at the percentage of yield. So whether you're a high yielder, an average yielder, or a lower yielder, there's information through the Yield Enhancement Network to help you learn more about what goes on in your farm, what you can do on your farm, and how you can hit more of your potential. At the end of the season with the growers, they get a report. It's about a 35, 40-page report and gives you back all this information. You talked about phosphorus, we talked about sulfur, they've talked about boron. All this stuff comes back to you in these reports, and Dennis will hit a lot of that later on this afternoon. For us on our side, one of the things we work very heavily at also is networking, because it is a yield enhancement network. So through part of that network, we want to make sure that we get the growers together, share the information, share the data, and have those conversations. So last year we were able to hold an event here in Michigan and invited everyone to come and participate. And we were on the Bartle Farm. We were also over at Jeff Crone's, and we stopped by the DRC farm and really took a look, had some discussions out there to learn a little bit more and share information with growers. This year, that group is going to be going to Ontario for the summer event and the networking. And the goal for next year is to get the growers together in the Yield Enhancement Network and take a group to the United Kingdom and actually go there, tour, and see what they do. So lots of fun, interesting events and activities coming on through the Yield Enhancement Network. Right now, we're getting ready to launch it for 2024. That launch is actually Friday morning of this week, and you can see how the numbers have grown. This is what we look at 2024. As we're pulling that together, we have 197 fields already signed up. 2023, we're at 156. almost 122, and for our pilot year, we were only at 43. So if there are any of you out there with a burning desire to get involved, see Dennis, because you can't sign up on the website, but we can still sign you up, and we need to know that to get you information so you can be on the launch on Friday morning. So really one of the biggest, newest things we've been looking at as far as research that really goes along when we look at the growth and the opportunities for the research program. Most of the research we fund is at Michigan State, and as we've grown the program and really developed, when you hear the work that Dennis does, the updates from Eric Olson on what he's doing, you can see how this program is growing, and we are working with and having conversations with the folks at Michigan State, looking at that MSU wheat research farm. That's basically just down the road, not too far. We're looking at collaboration, we're looking at leveraging funding, and looking at trying to add more infrastructure for them in building, pesticide mixing pad, those kinds of things. So lots more things on the horizon as we look to the future and look to see what we need to do and what holes we really need to fill with that program. We've also looked at filling the needs of the program, and one of those is what they need as far as support and equipment. So we've been able to partner and supply them and Dennis and Eric's program with a tractor, a research plot planter, a precision planter. We were able to leverage with dry beans and MSU on a plot combine, and then also looking at the Harvest Master grain system. So lots of things and infrastructure going in there to really build the needs that we have for wheat, to make sure we have a world-renowned, world-class wheat breeding program at Michigan State. And as we look to the future and say, why do we need to do that? There's several opportunities. One of those comes with Michigan State. We actually have an intellectual property agreement. So as we fund research, as something is developed or discovered, we get opportunities to work with MSU Technologies and help get those products to market. And in some cases, we're doing some exploration now. You know, some of the markets that we would have and we would serve from a university-wide glance are not that big that the university is 100% behind it and excited and ready to go, but there's opportunities for us that we would be behind it, excited and ready to go. So an 8,000 market of wheat farmers is not a huge market for them, but for us, it's a huge, very important market. So we're looking at some of that technology, looking to see what would make sense, and looking to see if we can move things forward and help get things to market. We're also looking at the variety releases and looking at growing the pipeline. In the past, with other wheat breeders, there would be a variety release every 4 or 5 years. Well, you heard Eric this morning with his excitement and his energy. He's developed systems and protocols, and he's getting varieties to market much more quickly. So there are years that he has 2 or 3 or 4 varieties just in 1 year to release to get to the marketplace. And some of those work really well here in Michigan, and some of those actually work really well in other states. So we're trying to work with he and Dennis and also MSU to figure out where do they make sense. Can we get these in the hands of growers? And let's make sure when technology is developed, it's out there in the marketplace and it's not someplace sitting on a shelf. So we're doing all the things we can to help grow that pipeline and help make sure that we're getting you guys the tools that you need to be able to grow better wheat. One of the other pieces that's very important, and I know you know that now, but I think you will see it even more at the end of the day, is having the MSU wheat specialist, Dennis Pennington. Dennis's position is funded in partnership with the Wheat Checkoff Program, which has just been wonderful to bring us together. I think he and I kind of work like we're in the same office, even though we're not. And we are also able to help with he and Eric with their program of work and their funding on places where they might have shortfalls from the university, where funds are needed other places. We make sure on an annual grant that they just have the funds they need to keep things up and keep things running. Then I also want to have Jenna Falor and Monica Jean come on up. You guys thought you just got to sit back there. I've had the great opportunity to participate with the MSU Extension wheat extension team. And adding Monica and Jenna to the team has been absolutely wonderful. We are on the meetings at least once a month. We set our schedule and what we have coming up for the next month. And I think I have a little envelope with a little gift for each one of them. And I think we need to give them a big round of applause because they're getting our bases covered. Thanks, you guys. You deserve it. These are the voices behind the scenes that you guys don't always see, that are calling you for yen to get things signed up, that are here to help us with the presentations and make everything run smoothly. So this really is a big wheat team that is focused on the future. Speaking of the future, coming up June 25th, we want to make sure that you get the summer field day on your calendars. This is not our usual date for the field day, but given the work that we're doing on the UN and the stuff with the UK, we've had to switch dates. So June 25th will be our field day. We'll be up at the Saginaw Valley Research and Extension Center. And we have some really unique research going on, looking at wheat, looking at nematodes. So when we meet this summer, some of that will be wrapped up, and we think we're going to have some really neat announcements that we can make, especially if you're a soybean grower, on how really wheat in your rotation may be a big benefit and really help a lot when you're looking at some of the issues like nematode control. So be watching for that and make sure you come and get the latest information and updates on that research. If you've liked what we've said, and I've really just given you a little smattering of what we do and focused on research, we do have a board of directors. We are made up of 9 board members, which are 8 growers from across the state, and also 1 miller. So every 3 years, each position is up, and they rotate through. Those positions are appointed by the governor. But we have 2 names submitted for each of those positions, and then it lets the governor make that decision. So if you are in District 1, which is red, or District 4, which is yellow, and you are interested in being on the board, let me know. I have nomination forms. We also have our Miller rep, and that is Jim Doyle, and he's available to be reappointed, as are your other 2 board members, Lynn Uphouse and also Jason Dunning. So that's kind of where we're at for the board. I do have this. I will have this out by registration. So if you're not in one of those districts, but you're interested in getting involved on the board, this will show you where your district is, and then we can check to see when the appointment would be up if you want to get more involved. It is a board that works pretty hard. We have a 2-day research funding meeting, which is full day, full throttle. I can see Frank laughing. He's been through those. But really that's where we take our research budget and spend it for the year, keep that continuity, decide which programs we want to invest in, and the board makes the decisions on what we fund, where your grower money goes, and what our priorities are for the next year. So I also want to make sure that I mention today, we've talked a little bit about presentations. Peter has said that his slides are available. We also have Daryl in the back. And you've probably seen Daryl around if you go to our different meetings. He goes and he tapes all of our programs. So if you go to our website, miwheat.org, and you look under education, you will find the agenda, just like it's sitting on your table, for all of the meetings we do. When you go on the website, look at the agenda, and under each one of those topics is the video of the presenter. And he cuts them so you can just look at one presentation. But if it's 6 months from now and you're like, boy, Peter said something, I would need to deal with that now, I should go look at it, you can go back and click and see, you can see his slides, you can hear what he has to say, and that will kind of refresh it. So that is there on our website as a resource for you for all of the annual meetings and also all of our field days. So lots of good information there, as well as the research reports. So I think with that, Jeff, I am about going to wrap it up. This is our contact information for the organization. If you have questions or need information, certainly reach out to me. But with that, I'm going to give you a couple extra minutes to put back on the agenda in case anybody has questions. I can answer those. All right, awesome.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Jody.